two up-and-coming prospects. One is an American with Filipino descent that is projected to be a first-round pick in the NBA draft.
Number 3 in the ESPN 100, an NBA athlete right now.
The other is a 7-foot, 18-year-old behemoth with a versatile playstyle.
Green over on the wing, takes it past, he goes up!
They've shown a lot of promise and potential, receiving comparisons to NBA superstars.
He's earned comparisons to Kobe and LeBron.
Kai, I think a lot of the bigs that are in the NBA now, I think he has the ability to play like Nikola Jokic.
Mike Malone loves this young man.
I'm telling you, as a second-round pick, that kid is special.
Looks like he can shoot the ball from the outside. He can be a facilitator.
Both made headlines for joining the G League.
Green is the number 1 basketball prospect in the 2020 class. Made a big announcement yesterday that he is bypassing college to enroll in the NBA's new G League Professional Pathway program.
Mentored by 5-time NBA champion and Phil Jackson protege Brian Shaw. The sky's the limit for these individuals and their development. Could change the game of basketball. My name is Carlos Pineda, and this is Ice in One's Veins. Hello everyone, my name is Carlos Pineda, and welcome to Ice in One's Veins, a podcast that discusses anything about the beautiful game of basketball. In our very first episode, I've invited 2 die-hard aficionados who have been very keen on the progress of both Jalen Green and Kai Sotto. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guests for today, Mr. Justin Taguibao from Asia Pacific Hoops and Mr. Jian Chen from NS Matrix from Malaysia. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing right now?
I'm doing pretty well. What about you guys?
Well, I'm doing great now with our team. Fortunately, the COVID-19 situation in Malaysia is still under control. Sports and leisure activities are allowed to resume with strict protocols to follow. So my team has been practicing for almost 2 months now, and I can't really complain much with the stuff going around the globe now. I'm just grateful that we are all safe and allowed to play ball at this very moment, and thanks for having me here.
Definitely, your efforts are going to produce some sort of dividends later, Jian. I'm looking forward for the progression of your team. Now, okay, let's go straight to our topic. So, you guys are familiar with Kai Sotto and Jalen Green. Obviously, they're making headlines in both the local scene and as well as the international scene. So, what are your thoughts on these individuals?
The first guy, there are 2 players with extremely high ceiling. Jalen is a consensus 5-star recruit, as we all know. He's not highly recruited by college teams for a reason. And we all know Kai has since improved by leaps and bounds and is going to the US to train. So, yeah, these are 2 great players, 2 players with great future.
Kai Sotto, man, he's a very talented young man, with his length and potential to be an all-around big man like his idol Porzingis. I heard a lot of good things about him from some of the Filipino coaches. I mean, the fact that he's humble and willing to accept coaching, I think that's a big plus to his career. And he's going to be a big problem to the Asian basketball scene in years. And hopefully he can be successful in NBA as well. Well, for Jalen Green, I think he's a high-flying, athletic guard that just cannot be stopped, since his high school career. I mean, standing at 6'5" at this moment, I can only imagine him to become bigger and more versatile at both ends, punishing the rim, slashing points while able to lock down the opposing wings. Just like most of the NBA superstars, I think he's heading towards the direction.
Definitely. I'm actually looking for the progression of Jalen Green. Obviously, there's a lot of hype surrounding him. And speaking of Jalen Green, recently he made some remarks. He publicly stated that he'd rather skip college and go straight to the G League. And everyone from the likes of ESPN, as well as the community, would say that it's actually a logical decision. It's actually a smart decision because of the benefits that the G League offers. Number one, you can actually get paid to play and train for the G League. Number two, you don't have to spend majority of your time going to school. And third benefit, the G League offers an education program. So you can actually get a degree from the G League, and it's not as super intensive as a college degree. And, ESPN would argue that this is actually a potential threat for college basketball or for NCAA basketball. So may I know, gentlemen, what are your thoughts about the impact or the value of the G League?
Well, the G League isn't the first to sign high school recruits before the NBA. We've seen Brandon Jennings going to Italy a few years ago, Emmanuel Mudiay going to China, and then just last year we saw LaMelo Ball going to Australia. So this isn't something that hasn't been done before, but I think it's more enticing for the players now because they could stay near home. They could stay in the U.S. and
Hello, Justin. Are you all right? Okay. Jian, let's proceed with you. What are your thoughts about the G League?
Well, first, I think Green must have put in a lot of thoughts before reaching the decision on joining the G League. So the impact is definitely big because now the high school athletes will look at them and get inspirational. I think like what Justin has said, this is not a new approach, I would say, but similarly to how RJ Hampton and LaMelo Ball chose to go to the Australian NBL instead of a college system, I think Green's experience in the G League will for sure affect the coming classes decision in a lot of aspects, especially the financial attraction that you have mentioned just now. So what you said about in the G League approach, I think it's all good. Personally, I think players like Green and Kai Sotto must be mentally ready and stay tough throughout the course of a season in G League. Because the other players are usually pro who have spent time in overseas or just players they are looking to break into the NBA. So to put things into perspective, I think they are just as hungry as Jalen or even Kai now. And at the same time, they have more experience in approaching the games. They have been playing overseas sometimes. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they adjust into the toughness part of the game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, of course, the G League, they do offer an intensive NBA program, which is definitely attractive for anyone who aspires to be a professional. Justin, would you like to continue what you said early, or are things okay there?
Yeah, I think the best part that G League has to offer is what you mentioned. Now they could go to college as well. So it's an extra incentive.
Let's go for the local perspective about the G League. I mean, we've seen its benefits, or we've seen what makes it so attractive for players who wish to go to the pros. Do you think this will define the future of basketball to the point where even countries like the Philippines for Justin or Malaysia for Jian like they will have their own version of the G League?
I guess for the Philippines, it might be a little bit harder just because of the fact that we don't have the same system in place. And then with the popularity of the college basketball scene, I don't think leagues like the PBA, I mean, the college basketball leagues are even more popular than the PBA, if you ask some people. So I don't think it's as viable as maybe in the NBA, but we never know.
As far as the Malaysia system, I think we are not as established as our big brother Philippines in this region. I think in order to get things working, let's forget about all the things. I mean, Malaysia must have a good pro league under the new leadership at this moment. They sort out the collegiate sports system with the universities and the Ministry of Education. It's a long way for us to go. And the context of green, I would say, can't really apply to Malaysia now at this moment. But like I say, the decision green has made certainly, caused some wow and wave, in the global basketball community. And even we from Malaysia will be watching how he grow under this program and, get inspiration for our long-term project.
Of course, we mentioned about the G League, the many benefits that it actually imposes. But then if you consider the other issue that the G League faces right now, which is the pandemic, the G League, according to Brian Shaw, doesn't have the same resources as the NBA. So that forces coaches to communicate with their players online. So given this situation, how will this affect the development of Jalen Green and Kai Sotto? I mean, is there an important aspect from training with coaches in the boot camp that will be missed?
Well, I guess definitely because, especially for the team that Jalen Green and Kai Sotto will be playing at, they haven't even met each other yet. I mean, they haven't even practiced once together. Unlike the other G League teams, which will probably have a few players left from past season, or these players are actually familiar with the coaches already. So it's going to be much harder for this new developmental team. Well, with regards to the player development, maybe Coach here can share his thoughts about it.
I experienced it firsthand during our lockdown in Malaysia. It's pretty hard to communicate via whether it's Zoom, whether it's any other program or software. It's pretty hard for us to monitor based on my opinion, and it will require both the coaches and players to take extra initiative to make things work via online. Technical difficulties, communication, monitoring is all tough to deal with in the online format. And time don't wait. So I think both Jalen Green and Kai Sotto got to work out a plan with their coaches, in order to keep them in shape. While I think two of them are really hard workers based on multiple interviews they have. I think they are really hard workers who love to stay in the gym. But it's also wise to work smart with the program and shaping themselves into a more profound players within their G League career, based on the program from the coaches. I think the real important aspect here is just, it's different because you can't see your players, your coaches every day, eye to eye. It's just so much different between the traditional format and also the online format. And I think being able to stay around the players, talk to them, guide them in the process, just directly tell them what's good and what's bad in their training. I think this is something that the players and the coaches will also miss in this online format.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, social media and technology is going to be further tested in this pandemic, but they've also placed a lot of burden with aspiring professionals as well. Like because of technology or social media, all of a sudden you get players getting discovered out of nowhere. Scouts would be keeping an eye on you, and this actually puts a lot of pressure for a player to perform. Like we saw this in the case of Lonzo Ball, that because of the media hype and because of the social media hype and because of his father's hype, that all of a sudden people are actually putting a target on him. You know, the trolls online, Patrick Beverly and other players. We heard Jalen Green. He mentioned during the G League that, or his experience in the G League, that you know everyone seems to gun after his back because, of course, the social media hype is there, as well as the fact that he's a rookie trying to prove something. So, what do you guys think? You know that these players should do. You know, to handle the pressure that social media offers.
Well, most of these kids have already been playing basketball their entire lives, beginning from the AAU system as kids up to college. Most of these players that are ranked this high, I think they have a switch that they could turn it on and off. When they get to the court, they just like focus on task at hand. I don't think players ranked this high like Jalen, they don't feel much pressure anymore. I mean, they won't reach this level if these guys like succumb to pressure. But I don't know about the others though. But yeah, I can't really speak for them. But I think we could see all the great NBA players, especially for someone that's suspect, number one draft pick prospect like Jalen. I think he can handle it.
Yeah, I agree with Justin though, because at this era, one crazy down and then you can become the latest trend in social media already, and that puts pressure to players for sure. But pressure is like a coin though to me. It depends on how you want to take it really. You know, some players like Justin say, a lot of the NBA players, they thrive under pressure and then just give them more motivation to stay perfect. And I think in terms of how to handling pressure is something that will set Green and Kai Sotto apart. And this is something that they must learn wisely in their G League time. You know, both of them are so talented that for sure some of the people will want to see them to fail. And the pressure is real. And if you consider that they are not even 20, I think it's 20 or 21, I think it's really, really scary. You know, so handling pressure is really what set most of the elites apart from the regulars. I will take some of my players for example. Though they're arguably the best players at this in Malaysia right now. So for sure, people will look at them and expect results. And that's common. So sometimes people expect quick results, but things don't work that way. And the fact that they have to deal with it patiently and let their work speak for themselves, I think will be something crucial to push themselves onto the next level. So I really hope to see Kai Sotto and Jalen Green break through under so much pressure and handle it like real professionals.
All right, yeah, definitely. Of course, coaches are going to be integral in making sure that these players would not succumb under the pressure. And yeah, Brian Shaw did mention that the right coaching staff is very important for the players, the right system as well for a player to reach the NBA. I mean, there are some cases where this is actually true. Like, for example, the situation of Chris Middleton. You know, when he was in Detroit, he actually averages like 6 points per game, and he was actually more of a role player or a bench player. Then all of a sudden, he went to Milwaukee. And so when he went to Milwaukee, all of a sudden, he became a superstar, or an all-star. So what are your thoughts about Brian Shaw mentioning that it's about finding the right system or the right coaching staff?
Well, definitely, Coach Brian Shaw is a multi-titled player and coach, so he definitely knows what he's talking about. He has the experience. He has been a head coach for the Denver Nuggets for 2 seasons before coming here. But I think the biggest adjustment for Coach Brian Shaw with these guys are high school kids. I mean, they haven't played a single professional game, so the adjustment would be very high. Coach Shaw did mention something about some of the player. He has advice for the players, like something around the likes of. He said something about the star players joining teams. Sometimes they have to adjust and become role players. So these will be the biggest adjustment for guys like Jalen, because I mean, they're really hyped as high school and college players. Going to the G League, as you mentioned before, they might have a target on their backs, especially from long-time professionals who's trying to make the NBA. So the biggest adjustment would be buying into the system Coach Shaw has in place. Same goes for Kai and the rest of the guys.
I think what Coach Brian Shaw says is true. You can't expect a 7-footer who is slow and can't extend his range to excel in the dribble drive system. So yeah, system is definitely key and it's vital here. And yeah, I will use like the NCAA teams as an example here. Like we all know that US collegiate teams are pretty interesting because they have a certain way to grow certain type of players. Depends on the universities. I mean, if you look at Kentucky, it's a perfect place for one and done players to get ready for the NBA. If you look at Michigan State Spartans, you can always expect great defensive energy guys from the program, like Draymond Green, Gary Harris. So yeah, it's important to get the right coaching system. And with right coaching system, with right coaches, with the initiative from the players, yes, we have seen a lot of examples to have success in the NBA.
Right. Yeah, definitely. The right coaching system is without a doubt very important. Now, let's assess Kai Soto as well as Jalen Green, given their talents right now. For the side of Kai Soto, which among the 30 teams do you think his talents are going to shine?
I guess with today's game, and if he improves as much as he has already, he continues improving, I think he has a place in a lot of the teams. But yeah, one of his weaknesses would be, I think he's still kind of skinny, although he has already put on some weight. Still quite skinny when compared to the other big men. I mean, he doesn't have to develop a back to the basket game because I think those kind of players are going extinct in today's style. But I mean, as long as he continues to improve on the shooting, his touches, I think he's going to fit in a lot.
So, by the way, Carlos, great question. So, personally, I would love to see Kai Soto join the Washington Wizards. Teaming up with Ray Hachimura, have two Asian representatives who play in modern styles would be super cool, I think. And I think both of them will have a great chemistry to play a killer two-man game with the Wizards. So yeah, and then as for Green, I think backcourt of him with De'Aaron Fox will be deadly as well. They're really fast. It's kind of like a Kings version of Fast and Furious. They tear their opponents apart in a nightly basis. On Miami Heat, because I think Green reminds me a lot of D-Wade, young flash, quick, flying here and there, able to take big shots. I mean, he reminds me a lot of Dwayne Wade for sure.
Oh, wow, definitely. That's a really, really good comparison, given his athleticism. And of course, I really, really look forward to the tandems that you mentioned, Coach Jian. Okay, now speaking of Kai Soto, one of his biggest weaknesses or one of the biggest criticisms that's given directed to him is his lanky frame. And some would argue that he should put in some weight. But given in today's NBA game where big men are required to develop speed and agility, or they need to develop like a perimeter game, like you see Coach Brett Brown, he loves to station Joel Embiid to make jump shots, although there's actually a huge criticism on that. And then you see guys like Garnett or guys like Kevin Garnett or guys like Porzingis who are actually lanky in general, but they have like an outside jumper for them to compensate like lack of strength inside. So do you think Kai should ignore these flaws, or do you think like he needs to develop these weaknesses, and can he actually rely solely on his outside game more than his inside game?
You guys mentioned Kristaps Porzingis. I think that's an excellent comparison, although Kai still has a long way to go before getting to that level. He has to improve in a lot of aspects as well. But I think, I don't think he needs to put on significant weight because he's not going to be a back to the basket type of player in today's game. I don't think so. So as long as he improves on his skill, strength and conditioning, I think he'd be okay. But like I said, he still has a long way to go to make the NBA.
Well, I think one example Kai Sotto can look at is the Chinese big man Zhou Qi. I mean, he's also a 7-footer with lanky frame that can shoot from the outside. But the fact that Zhou Qi is missing out the needed strength and weight, and the heavy battle inside the NBA pants just cost him a lot of trouble to get used to the pace and the game. So even though he can stretch to the 3-point line, but the team will need him to get into the painted area from time to time, to fight for the balls, to do the defensive job. So the game has become faster and require players with more agility, no doubt. But Kai Sotto, as a modern big man, I think he must have the size to fight in the painted area. I mean, he doesn't need to be bulky at all, but able to take some tough bumps while still able to pull his hands up straight to affect the offensive guys will be crucial. That combined with his lanky frame, and improving ball handling, he will be a great two-way player that some expected Zhou Qi to be.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
Qi is an excellent comparison. Sorry, Carlos, I just have to add. That's an excellent comparison as well, but I think Kai at this stage is already has better strength than Zhou Qi had when he was with the Houston Rockets a few years ago. So I think Kai might be better suited for than Zhou Qi is.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I mean, of course, you have these interesting comparisons, even going beyond the NBA. I mean, going overseas, which I really, really appreciate. So, of course, I mentioned about the physical aspect, of player development, but let's go for the mental side as well. So, player development, having the right mindset is extremely important. Like every coach would emphasize that a player needs to have the right attitude in order for him or her to succeed. Now, some players have their personal lives that could affect them. So how do you get the best mindset from players, especially the likes of Kai Sotto and Jalen Green, who are in the development stage, given this issue with the mindset issue?
I think as we've seen in the past, Kai Sotto has an excellent support system with his family. They've been with him throughout his journey since he was in high school, going overseas. His entire family followed him. So I think Sotto has an excellent system, support system. So I think he's in a good place. For Jalen, I think the same. I think he is great. He has a good head over his shoulders. I think he'd be fine.
Okay. I think this is a very good question, Carlos. I think they need to know what they really want, because it all goes back to the love of the game. If you want to be successful in the game, and you need to pour all of your energy, effort, everything onto it. Like I said earlier, I mean, both of them are hard workers who are coachable as well. That's a good start to begin with. So how are they going to separate their personal lives from their professional side of the job? I think that's the right mindset. That's the right mindset. I mean, now both of them know what they really want at this stage, and that's become a well-known star or superstar or franchise player in the NBA. So that means what? No shortcuts, but really just practice with the goal every day, watch films, eat right, review everything, work again, and don't cheat the grind. Like I said, this is a very good question because I think this is what confused some of the players here in Malaysia as well. Because it's not easy to be any professional athlete in any sports. So don't let your private stuff affect your professional side of life. If you can do that and work out every day without having others to push you, I think you are someone with the right mindset as a professional athlete. And I'm really looking forward for Kai Sotto and Jalen Green to become that sort of professional athlete like what Justin said just now.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we certainly would like to reach the peak of both Kai Sotto and Jalen Green. Now, speaking of Jalen Green, we're able to see his prowess, in high school for his ability to posterize everyone in his way. And then he made some interesting remarks, like he showed interest in playing for the Philippine basketball team, which I'll be honest with you, I did not expect because one, obviously the US men's basketball team has better resources and of course a way better talent pool. And the other, Jalen Green, has played for like the under 17s already for Team USA. So if ever this becomes a reality, what does this mean for Philippine basketball?
Jalen is an excellent player. It's funny you mentioned how he's posterizing everyone, and we're talking about these two players because Jalen put Kai on vicious posters multiple times in the past when they played against each other during the national development leagues over here. So yeah, it's just a funny thought to remember those. But yeah, Jalen playing for the Philippines might be a stretch, but since he already played for the U.S. men's basketball team under 19 at the FIBA under 19 World Cup. But I think Jalen would be a great example for Filipino players. Although he's much more athletic than most players, but his style I think suits Philippine basketball players well. The quickness, the acrobatic style of play. He's going to be a great example, even if he doesn't suit up for the Philippine national team.
Yeah, I think what on top of what Justin said, I think I personally think it's pretty hard to see him wearing the Gilas jersey, even though I would love to see that, but I think it's pretty much a far stretch. But yeah, I think if one day him joining or coming back to the Philippines and joining the Gilas program, I think it only means good things. I mean the competition standard is up, like what Justin said, and more fans will get driving into the local basketball scene, and thus it will attract more sponsorship coming into the league or even the program. Just honestly a perfect boost to the Philippine basketball if Jalen has decided to come to the Philippines and play for his country. Jalen Green is a sensational young and talented guard that is projected to make waves in the NBA. So him joining the Philippines team will only be good things. That's the only good thing I would say. Yeah.
Probably not in FIBA competitions though, but we've seen Jordan Clarkson stood up for the Philippines in Asian games. So who knows?
Yeah. I think if we can see Jordan Clarkson and him teaming up together as a backcourt for Gilas, wow! I think I will pay a lot of the tickets to go to watch the Asian game.
Those are definitely very interesting insights, without a doubt. I mean, I really, really hope that we see that tandem of Kai Sotto, Jalen Green, and even Jordan Clarkson himself. Oh boy, that's going to be fun to watch. Now, of course, they're going to offer some Filipino pride, if all of these three play together. But they could also show the sort of like Filipino prowess even to the international stages when they eventually get drafted to the NBA, and hopefully that happens. So, okay, let's wrap things up with some few more questions. So, right now, if these two get drafted now, who will be chosen first? Okay, so let's just focus first on their skill set right now. Okay, in terms of their skill set right now, who do you think is going to get drafted first in the NBA?
Definitely Jalen Green. He's touted to be picked early in the first round, probably in the top 3. He's really highly rated. He's almost a complete player as you speak. As for Kai, I think probably, I'm not an expert, but I think he won't get picked in the first round as it stands, but probably a second rounder. But we have one more year to see Kai's development, even if he indeed does apply for the draft. At least one more year, so he probably improve a lot more.
I think it's gonna be Jalen Green, just because the fact that this is such a guard dominant era now. So without a doubt, at this point, at this stage of the skills level, I think Jalen Green will get picked by the NBA teams before Kai Sotto. But I think Justin makes some interesting points as well. I think personally, I will project Kai Sotto in late first round or the beginning of the second round. So I think Kai Sotto just need the right program, to develop him and then make him into a more skilled and agile big man. And then I think he's safe to he will be picked by the NBA teams, and hopefully.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Hopefully. All right. Now let's shift the dynamic. Okay. So suppose Kai Sotto reaches that Nikola Jokic level, or in Justin's case, like the Porzingis level, or suppose Jalen Green reaches the level of, let's say, a Russell Westbrook, or in Jian, your comparison, Dwayne Wade. So if ever they reach that ceiling, who do you think is going to get drafted first?
Yeah, definitely Jalen, without a doubt. I even have doubts at this point if Kai would get drafted in the first round, probably late second round as it stands. Hopefully he does get picked early, but there's a lot of good players getting picked in latter rounds as well. So we've seen undrafted players excelling, making the All-Star game. So it doesn't really matter if you go in the top 15 for late in the first round or second round, as long as you are able to keep your game up and make a mark in the NBA, you're gonna have a good career.
I think I'm gonna go different with Justin in this question though. I think I will pick any Jokic type of player, 10 out of 10 times without a doubt. So Kai Sotto will be my first choice in this case, because look at how the Denver Nuggets have built the team around Jokic, and it proves that big man can still be an anchor point for any team. So this is still a guard dominant league, like I say, but we have seen more and more teams making sure, a versatile, smart big man is being fully utilized and even run the show. So after all, the demand for high skill big men is there for two reasons. One, you can't teach height. So two, a skillful big man who has a complete package is so rare. So if Kai Sotto can really develop towards the direction, I think he's going to be a valuable pick for any teams. And like I said, if Kai Sotto goes to the Jokic type of direction, I would definitely pick him for sure.
If he does make, but I hope he does, because we've already seen good passing from Kai Sotto this early in his career. So who knows? He might just make it to maybe not as good as Nikola Jokic, but somewhere close would be great.
Okay, so those are my questions for today, gentlemen. Okay, so is there anything else that you wish to add, or are there any messages that you would like to convey before we fully end this session?
Messages for the players, I guess it might be cliche, but keep grinding. That's it.
Yeah. I think Kai Sotto moving to the States and now chasing his NBA dream. Teddy Ravenna going to Japan, Billy as the first ever Filipino. I think this is an extremely important message, not only to the Philippines but to the entire Southeast Asian region. I think this is a strong message, to fellow basketball players in our region, that we can just be as good as the players from other continents. All it takes is hard work, determination, and most importantly, the love of the game, like Kai and Teddy Ravenna in this case as well. So seeing them now pursuing their career in foreign country, it makes us from the region proud. As a Malaysian, I'm really proud and happy to see them, choose and a different pathway than most cases. And I wish them nothing but success. And I hope their stories can inspire more, Malaysian players to dream beyond Malaysia. It will take us a long, long time to be even where to be where our Pinoy brothers are at now. But set short-term goals and work it out step by step. And for playing abroad in the region first, maybe they're moving up. And what Kai Sotto is doing now, I can safely say that, I mean, people from the region will definitely be rooting and supporting him, without any hesitation. So yeah, just keep grinding, like what Justin said.
All right, yo. Thank you so much, Coach Jian and Justin, with your thoughts as well. I mean, I really appreciate those insights that you've given me. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Carlos. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you for having us today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today. Once again, my name is Carlos Pineda, and tune in our next episode of Ice in One's Veins. See you next time.